Hello and welcome to Monday Night Live. It is the 8th of August today, and there is lots going on in my world. Some you really don't need to be enamored with, and others that I'm really keen to share. But I would like to remind everyone of a Monday Night Live we did maybe 5 months ago about ducks in a row, and hoping everyone out there remembers, because it resonated really widely with a lot of you, about putting all your ducks in a row, that you don't have to have them all lined up. And I did borrow this from a lovely lady, Marisa, who I did one of her courses of, that not all the ducks have to line up. So if you're looking for that perfection, remember, perfection doesn't happen, but action can create perfection. So I would encourage you to just check where your ducks are, and if they're all scattered about the pond, that's perfectly okay. So welcome to Monday Night Live. I'm Yvonne Shepherd. I'm the founder and CEO of Women's Fitness Adventures, if you don't know me. Of course, I don't know who's watching, so if you are watching live, excuse me for this throat, then please go ahead and let me know where you're watching from, what's happening in your world, and maybe today on a Monday, let's just check in about something that you're excited about, because there's lots of exciting things in the world. Now, if you will excuse my scratchy throat, I did last week, I've got some pink juice here. I did last week have a PCR test, and came back negative for everything that you get tested for. So I'm not really sure what little adventure has beholden me for the last couple of days. Anyway, I'm good. So that's one thing. So tonight I want to talk about, and our member newsletter hasn't gone out yet, I'm a little bit behind. Want to talk about this thing that's been on my mind all week, and I've been having lots of conversations in my head about it, and I'm not even sure where it stemmed from, but it's relevant. And I explored it further. I sat and, really turned over in my mind why this was at the forefront, and I'll share it with you in just a moment. So let's check in and see who's here. Hi, Judy. Hi from Brisbane. Hi, Alison in Melbourne. Beautiful sunset tonight here in Brisbane. Hi, Brod. You're excited because you bought a lovely pair of shorts and walking sandals to take to Far North Queensland. Beautiful. You'll need them because, excuse me, the weather really is warming up. Hello, Sandra from Sydney. Hello, Leanne in Brisbane. And hello, Patricia from Crescent Head. So lovely to have all of you here. Remember, if you are watching and don't want to say hello, I can't see you. I don't even know who you are unless you say so. So thank you to everyone who has said hello. So I'm going to talk tonight about the fine print. Now, I do know, and hi, Kerry from Victoria, I do know, and this is not a dig at anyone, and I'm as guilty of it as in the next person, is that with the fine print, that most of us don't read it. I know there's a couple of you watching who are very good on the fine print, and others default to you for that. But the fine print is something that most of us tick the box to. We go, oh, yeah, I agree. There's nothing I can do about it. I agree. And we don't really worry about the fine print at the time. But the fine print sometimes catches up with us. But I'd like to explore why the fine print has just stuck with me all week. So on the surface of our life, so surface things, the fine print is everywhere. The fine print is there with the headlines on the news, that we can hear that sensationalism, whether it's on a news app, whether it's on the commercial television or pay television, which is probably worse, or whether it's a newspaper or the radio. The headline is this, and then if you check back in a couple of hours later, the headline is different, but the story is exactly the same. But most of us don't take the time to look beyond the headline, to read, listen, or seek to understand what the fine print of that really is. And sometimes it's not even what the headline is about. And Leanne, glad you're excited about Japala. I am too. But it's also what we see. So we don't see the fine print. We see life through our own lens. We see the world as we want it back reflected to us. And if we don't like what we see, then we simply look somewhere else. For the majority of us, of course, I'm generalizing. So we don't delve deeper when we It's the same with people who we meet. How often do we judge a book by its cover, by the person we see in the street, by the way they're walking or dressed, or and make an observation. I'm not going to say judgment, an observation about them, but we never really seek to look at the fine print, to seek to understand who they are, because they may not fit the perception that we have or view that we have of the world. So we kind of see everything at this headline level all the time, and it's at the fine print, the devil or the delight in the detail that really matters. But so moving on from that headline and the fine print and the things that matter, because if we don't read the fine print, and I know some people don't, that it comes back to bite you when you say, "Oh, I didn't read that. I didn't know that." And it's like, well, it was on page 48 of blah, 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 blah. Yes, Kate, it's 7. So we can also forget about the fine print in our life, in our own health and in our own wellness. So, the fine print of the choices that we make, and a choice is a choice, maybe, a bit like Mr. Ed, a horse is a horse, of course. But a choice is a choice, but until you read the fine print. And the fine print with the choices we make in our health and in our wellness may not show up for years. It may not show up for decades, may not show up at all, but it's called the fine print of the choices we make. And if we make the choice always of the comfy couch versus movement, then we know that the comfy couch isn't going to be the long-term solution if we want to be mobile and fit and active in the decades to come. So that's the fine print. The fine print of our choices around our health and wellness is the consequences that show up. So next time we're faced with a choice, and it's that same thing we spoke about with the book, The Joy Choice, or Make the Harder Choice, or The Gap and the Gain, and all those books that we talk about in our masterclasses and in book club at Women's Fitness Adventures. It's the choice you make today. If you stop for a moment and think about the choice you make today, what is the fine print? What is the implications? What's the impact of what that choice has for me, for a better today, for a better tomorrow, or for a better next decade to come? So if any of this is resonating with you, or you think, what is she talking about tonight? Maybe it's that cough that's put her on that way. Then please let me know. So we can have the fine print around our movement, but we can also have the fine print around our mindset as well. And I've been trying to stamp this out for over 8 years, coming up, next year will be 9 years, of the word sorry. I've also been trying to stamp out the word just, because what we say when we don't realize it actually becomes our fine print. So I'm sorry, I can't. 20 years ago, I was as fit as a fiddle, but now I've got this and I've got that, and how we define ourselves. And when we have that coming into our conversation and we're not aware that it's part of our everyday conversation till someone points it out, is the fine print of the conversations and the behavior that we've been, I guess, accepting for ourselves as well. And also the fine print of, and this is an Australian thing more so, so if any of our international members are watching, the fine print of, she'll be right, mate, or I hope that I'm going to be better educated. I hope that I'm going to be fitter, faster, healthier, whatever it might be. I'm hoping I'm going to have more money. So if we read the fine print of hope is a dream without a goal. So the fine print of the wishing is that without action, it doesn't happen. So we can talk about in the context of, the fine print being very literal and being what it is, being the newspaper, being the headline, being, the document that you're requested to sign. And, some documents are more important, so we will pay more attention to the detail of those documents. But the fine print exists everywhere, just in a different form. So it exists in the media, in apps. Everyone signed an app, agreed to an app. without reading the fine print. It exists in the headlines of stories on the TV. That's called sensationalism. It exists in what we see and how we see the world through our own lens. And the fine print is that we tell ourselves the story that we want to see and choose to block out the fine print of the rest of the story. It's like looking at life through the movie camera lens and rolling the movie that you want to see. We see the fine print or we don't see the fine print, it's up to us, in who we meet, how we observe people and whether we want to interact with those people. And sometimes that interaction, don't judge the book by its cover. Have you ever been to a party and you end up talking to someone and who would probably never have been on your radar, but you just happen to sit next to them, and you come away seeing that they're the most fascinating person on earth? I was on a plane once. Well, I'm on a plane a bit. And some of you have heard this story of this lady that I sat next to, and there was a spare seat in between. And she was a little bit grumpy to start with. She must have had a bad morning. We were flying to Adelaide many, many years ago. And this lady, she didn't want to talk. I had my usual aisle seat. And anyway, the food came and she had the food, and we ended up having a conversation over the food. And this lady opened up and, had created something very, very significant in Australia. She was the creator of the men's shed, and she was going to Adelaide to receive an award. And whatever had gone on in the morning before, and before her getting on that plane, led me to go, okay, I don't need to get involved here. There's obviously something going on. She needs her own space. But it wasn't until we had the opportunity to just dig a little bit deeper into each other's lives, just asking, some very top level questions, that I realized, what an amazing woman this was. And I got off the plane thinking, gosh, I could have chosen to just keep my blinkers on and see the world as it was, or to have that conversation and learn a whole lot of new things in the space of that short hour and 45 minutes or whatever it is, flight from Brisbane to Adelaide. So, it's the fine print of who we meet, who we sit next to. You just never know that person that you didn't delve a little bit deeper into may be the person that impacts your life in such a different way. Hello, Meg. Hello, Kate. And hello, Chris. I hope you're all well, and thank you for joining us. But, the most important thing is the fine print of our health and the fine print of our wellness. And I had my 4th shot on Saturday, and of course got this little grumpy throat and some other stuff going on in the household. And, it's the choices we make today. And I say this to all of our members who show up for Functional Fitness every week live, and for those of you who do it on demand or do your own programs, it's the choices you make today, the fine print, the detail of what you do today, not the headline that I'm going to or I'm planning to, but I actually did in your quiet, unassuming way, that you showed up, that you did the work without needing the accolades, without needing the applause or the encouragement or the rewards. You did it because you knew that reading the fine print in 50 years' time and looking back to these very moments would be where it really mattered, that it's the action that you do today for your health and wellness that has the biggest impact on what happens to you tomorrow and what happens to you the day after that and the day after that. And as those days roll into months and weeks and years, or weeks, whatever the order is, and then decades, you look back at these points in time and realize that you did pay attention to the fine print. Or not. And if you didn't pay attention to the fine print, then maybe today's the day start to look. Because, I said last week I went swimming for the first time in a long time, and then I went swimming again, like lap swimming, on the weekend. And, even though I haven't lap swum for a long time, I'm stronger than I was many years ago. And it's just that consistency of showing up time and time again. It's not about changing your shape overnight. It's not about changing your strength overnight. It's not about, being able to lift or carry or sprint or outpace someone. It's about doing what you need to do to keep your body fit, functional, and strong. And that's the fine print of your life, the fine print of your key to good health and longevity. Most of you here, I won't need to remind you of that. Most of you already know that as well. But there's some pretty good articles going around on Facebook at the moment about, maybe that's what triggered me in the fine print, just about where we all are in the world right now, what we've all gone through over the past couple of years, and what impact that has on our health, for our health, and what we are choosing to or choosing not to do anything about. And, you're worth it. Absolutely, you're worth it to invest in yourself, to invest in your health, whatever way, shape, or form that takes. Because if you don't do it, no one's putting the lollipop lady out on the road and saying, stop, everybody stop the world until Lady A over there, realizes that she is super, super important. So the washing can wait, the work can wait, the meetings can wait, the family can wait 5 minutes, because that's all it takes to read the fine print of your life. If something in your health and wellness isn't working for you right now, or is working so well that you need to spend another 5 minutes today and tomorrow and the day after, then that's just a wonderful thing, because we don't get the time back. We know that. We know from the past 2.5 years, we're all that little bit more wrinklier and maybe a little bit more wiser too. But some of those things that we wanted to do that were put on hold for so long, we can't get that time back. I have a birthday this week. I'll be 56. I can't get back to being 54 and traveling the world or hiking the trails I want to at 54 and 55 anymore, because those years have gone. So take a look at the fine print of your life. Transport yourself to be Judy Jetson and to be, 85 years old, because the Jetsons were 60 yesterday. And I think they were done in 1962. I don't know, maybe I've got that wrong, but it was on the news last night. And look back and go, okay, this was my pivotal moment. This was my fine print moment. This is when I started to look at the details of my life and think, I need to keep doing what I'm doing. I need to change what I'm doing, or I need to, have a rethink altogether. But the choice is yours to do that. So I've rabbited on and my voice is getting a little bit croaky. So this week for members, we have a fair bit. Our girls are currently on the Jatpula Trail in the Northern Territory in Darwin. They've got their dinner under the stars tonight in the Nipmuc National Park. They had a cruise this afternoon on the gorge, and they're heading off on the trail tomorrow, which is pretty exciting. So they have no reception and won't be in reception till Saturday. So you won't see any pics of them until probably late Saturday. We also have our masterclass, common hiking injuries and how to avoid them. And we've had lots of great questions from our members. So if you're a member in the member Facebook group, you can still add to that. We've got our functional fitness live this week. We've got Cardio Boost live as well. We've got a couple of live events in Brisbane coming up over the weekend as well. And then our team head off to Outback Queensland on next week as well. So beautiful Carnarvon Ranges and Lonesome National Park. They get to see places that very few people will get to see, because it's not about only the Carnarvon Gorge National Park. We stay on a private property, and some of the stuff inside that private property is of significant cultural importance, and our wonderful guides have such rich knowledge and history of what it means and of the area that it is just a truly amazing experience. And with the sunsets we're having at the moment here in Queensland, I look out my balcony and it is a bright orange sky. So when you're in, 6 hours west of Brisbane, and the clear, beautiful stars that they're going to see, and, the open campfire, and hopefully Craig, our guide, will play the didgeridoo for you as well. you're in for a real treat. Crisp nights, so pack your Uggies, and just glorious winter days out there. You will have an absolute ball. So excited about that for you. And then in a couple of weeks, our Jatbula group with me go off again. So we're very excited about that. Yes, Brod, we do have some amazing trips. Hello, Susan, as well. Have some amazing adventures, all uniquely designed, well thought out, and extremely safe as well, but with wonderful partners who have our values, and of course our wonderful members who have all of our values as well. So that is it from me. I must say I loved our book club on Tuesday night. Last Tuesday night, it was so much fun. I look forward to the next one. And for those of you who were in the group, I did work out how they made all their money. I've just passed that. So that was like, oh, wow. That was a bit of a moment there as well. So that's it from me for tonight, short, sharp and sweet. I will be back next Monday night for Monday Night Live. Another year older, and a new one's just begun, I suppose. So thank you for joining me tonight. If you have any questions, then please just pop them into the chat box and I'll get back to and answer them. And hopefully I'll see some of you online on Wednesday night for our masterclass. I'll talk to you then. Bye.